loyal listeners, what is going on? It's your guest host, Mitch Gibson. Hope you all having a great start to your week, great start to your day, great start to the 2021 year. With the 2020 we had, it was one hell of a time, a lot of challenges, a lot of growth. I know for me and for this next guest, I mean, growth. If you didn't look at 2020 and thought of it as a growth year, maybe not necessarily insurance wise, but a growth year personally, growth year of just learning, you might have done something wrong. And that's what I want to take from this episode here is helping you guys grow, helping your agencies grow, helping your producers, helping you grow as an agent is the big thing to do here on this episode of the Agency Intelligence Podcast. And once again, before I start, I want to thank Jason Cass and the Agency Intelligence team for allowing me to guest host this amazing show and bring you loyal listeners nothing but phenomenal content to the ears and to the eyes to help you go out and kill the insurance world in the 2020 year and for many years to come, as we hope that's what your goals and aspirations are in your career. Before we get started, before I introduce my guest, got to give him a little background, got to give him a little bit of an introduction. I've kind of sucked at having a great introduction for each one of my guests other than just introducing them by their first names. And I'm going to give this one a shot here. Okay. On today's episode, I've got founder and CEO of Ethos Insurance and graduate from St. Joseph's College up in Rensselaer, Indiana. Like I said, guys, another Indiana guest, another Indiana agent that I have connected with. And it's amazing to see the success of independent agents across the country, but it's very cool to see the success of independent agents in the same state that you live in and that you do business in, absolutely killing it and have been killing it for many years to come. Mr. Ben Zimmer from Ethos Insurance. Ben, how are you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm great. Happy Friday to you, Mitch.
Absolutely. Cheers. I would say if it wasn't so daggone early in the morning, I'd say cheers to a cocktail, but we'll go with the coffee this morning to get us kickstart. I got a donut over here, so I'm being bad on the diet, on the no carbs, but gotta give myself some energy and stuff going into the weekend here. So Ben, once again, thank you for taking time out of your day. I look forward to diving into this conversation. I think it's really going to help a lot of agents and hearing it from you and with someone that's such a professional and someone that's, has had exceptional growth over the years. For those loyal listeners that are out there listening to this episode right now, Ben and I had a prior phone call about a week ago, and I took about 3 pages of notes talking to Ben. And before we started to hit the record button on this episode, Ben noted to myself that what I'm doing is not just trying to help other agents, but I'm helping myself. I'm learning from other agents. I'm learning from other agencies. I'm learning from other insurance professionals that are helping me become a better agent. And if it wasn't for guys like that, the insurance market and the insurance industry would not be fun. So cheers to you. And thank you for taking time out of your day today, Ben. So to kind of get started, there's some questions that Mr. Cass likes to ask, and I'm going to keep that flowing. I've kept it flowing for the last couple episodes, and I'm gonna throw my tie in at the end. So first question, we always kickstart the show off to help our loyal listeners get to know Ben Zimmer a little bit more from Ethos Insurance. Are you an iPhone or Android user, Ben?
I'm an iPhone user with a unfortunately Microsoft Office situation in the office, but yeah, I'm an iPhone user.
Same. There's nothing wrong with the Windows. It's just you kind of have to have that great balance. And for me, I'm more user friendly of the iPhone on the cell phone side of things. But as far as working and being on the laptop, Microsoft's just something I've used forever and did in college. So I got to carry it over into the business world. But on that iPhone, what's the latest app that you've downloaded, if you can remember one off the top of your head?
I've got two. I finally pulled the trigger and got a good Garmin watch, so I'm using that for exercise. So that Garmin Connect is awesome, and it also gives you the Garmin Golf, which is like same watch for exercise as well as golfing, which is cool. And then also Agency Zoom as our CRM. Really kind of. I like what that's doing for us, and I like seeing those dashboards. And I really haven't worked a CRM up until in the last 2 months, and just because we were so small that I didn't think we were there yet. But I wish I would have done it a year ago, so 2 years ago actually. So that's awesome. Yeah, those are the two latest apps that I have. So.
We'd always talk about the technology evolving and changing the industry, and the use of apps on the phone. I mean, the guys like Andy over at Glovebox. I mean, there's just so many different things that are being brought to the industry that are changing it, and you're seeing it happen on the middle to later part of your career now, and it's kind of crazy to see. You don't want to bite the bullet at the beginning. You kind of want to see it evolve and see what it turns into. Is it necessary? Is it going to be worth the customer's time? Whatever it is. So, you said? What was the agency management system again?
Well, this is just the CRM system of
CRM.
Agency Zoom,
Agency
and
Zoom.
it's done a great job for us because we're essentially, our agency was built entirely remote in December 2017. Having a producer in kind of near you, south of Indianapolis, having an employee in Colorado to see the dashboard and move things along the dashboard for our producers. So throughout the sales cycle, gives everybody a good look at it, no matter where they're at. They all have the app on their phone too. And whenever there's a win, their fireworks go off and says, "Way to go, Ben," or "Way to go, Beth," or "Way to go, Ricky," or whoever. So it kind of keeps everybody together, even though we have, some instances over 1,000 miles apart. That's a challenge is keeping agencies, especially in this remote environment, cohesive, row in the same direction. I would say if we can all row in the same direction, everything works out. We pick up the pieces for each other. That app alone brings us together. So
right. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. As far as the success that you've had, this is a phenomenal question I love, and it always brings a unique answer. But do you love to win or do you hate to lose?
I fear losing.
Fear lose. Wow, mic drop. He fears losing, loyal listeners. I thought I had a great answer when I was on Cass's show. And if you didn't listen to the episode I was on, go listen to my answer on that. I was not prepared. I didn't know what he was going to say. I didn't know what questions he was going to ask. And I did that for a specific reason, because I wanted it to come from my mind and my heart, out of my mouth. And I think I might've just gotten beat, people. He fears to lose. He's got that lion mentality in the safari, ready just to go out and eat everything he can find and write good business. So I love that answer. I love it.
Thanks, man.
So staying with the success and staying with kind of your career aspect in your mind. Okay, I'm going to leave this next question at that, and then we can get into some awesome topics for our loyal listeners and for some of those younger agents out in the field. But we all find ourselves, sometimes we're lucky. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where it requires our skill. And if it wasn't for our skill set, we wouldn't be successful. But leading up to the position that you're in now as the founder and CEO of Ethos Insurance up in Rensselaer, up in the, what was the, pronounce the city and town. Valparaiso. I know I was going to butcher that as well. Up in Valparaiso, what would you say has given you the best opportunity? Luck or the skill that you've been gifted put you in the shoes that you're in now?
It's actually, I would say it's a combination of mentorship. I've sought out mentors younger than me, mentors older than me. And I would say, honestly, my biggest key to success is getting up before everybody else. Everybody talks about the 5 a.m. club and all this stuff. And I get up at 4:30 every day of the week. I'm, ready to roll well before everyone else is, turning the lights on. And I feel like that gives me the opportunity to do things like a greatness tracker about what's going good, what's going bad, where do we want to go this week. I look at things in the form of a week. Who are the people that I need to reach out to, and what do I want to say? And kind of gives myself the chance to play out conversations that I want to have before I actually have these conversations, and say, which rabbit hole could this possibly go in? And how do I bring it back to what I want the conversation to go the way I want it to go, and add value. Ultimately, it's about adding value. I don't want to miss out on an opportunity because I wasn't prepared. And I think that just comes from a lot of mistakes, or as they say, lessons. I would say definitely hard work more than luck, just because I guess I've been lucky to be surrounded with the mentors I've been around. So that's an answer.
I like that, and we're going to get into that here in a second, loyal listeners, as far as the mentorship side of things. And he's had good luck with surrounding himself around other people that are in the insurance world or other business professionals to help him succeed. And in a previous conversation Ben and I had, he talks about even the rebranding of the business and the success strategy behind what Ethos Insurance is and what they're about and what they do. And in return, it's kind of been a life evolvement of what Ben Zimmer is and what he does. And a lot of people have that big disconnection from your personal brand to your business brand. And I think with you've got a great combination of both tied in together, that your community knows who you are, your community knows who Ethos Insurance is. And that's a huge plus. And that's what's made you so successful, is you've established who Ben Zimmer is and what Ben Zimmer is about. So when you talked about being lucky with good mentorship, and I had another guest on a few weeks ago who talked about, if he had one piece of advice for people, it's to find good mentors or find other people that are better at what he's doing than he is, and learn from that. Pick up the phone, call these people, pick up the phone and have conversations, because that's what's gonna make you better. That's what's made me better. That's what's making me consistently and continuously better, is by talking and having great conversations with other agents in the market that have been doing it and have been kicking insurance's ass for many years. I'm telling you right now, that's what's going to make a difference. What was it that made you kind of wake up and say, I need to surround myself around other people in this, industry, other business professionals, especially going from a captive market to, working your way up to your own as an owner of an independent agency? When did you start the mentoring or the mentorship of, I need to find people to learn from and grab ideas from and be the best Ben Zimmer and Ethos Insurance that I possibly can be? Or is that something you've always had?
You being a college athlete, me being a college athlete, like, it meant to get to that level, you had to be coachable. You had to be able to listen, take instruction, and recognize that whether or not this person that's giving you this information could do it right now. Meaning if you have you have a coach who's 70 years old, but knows a lot about the game of baseball, they can teach you fundamentals because they've seen so much. I recognized really early out of college when I started in the industry, and like you, Mitch, I started at 22, thinking to myself, who's going to trust me to protect their most valuable assets and their families and things like that. But what happened was my coach, or my mentor at that time, was my manager at Farm Bureau, John Harazi, who still had that competitive side to him that we have naturally, and said, look, I can teach you this. Don't worry about not being an expert on everything. Just worry about making sure you get enough opportunities to learn from mistakes you've made, and continuously go out and speak to people about your passion for what you're doing and how much you enjoy the fact that we get to go out and make relationships for a living. And I said this on the podcast with Bradley. I said, the fact is, insurance gets in the way of my relationships all the time, but I continue to develop relationships because of insurance, because people have to have it. And so it's so fun to have that career where you can just say, all I got to do is go be a good person, give back to my community, volunteer, because people have to have our product. It's just about us improving their experience and improving the relationships and value we can add, whether that be through introductions and connecting them with other business owners or other people in their community. The independent insurance agent is the greatest connector there is, because we're talking to everybody. I mean, it's so refreshing, and that's why in my tagline that we're in risk management refresh, because we are giving people an approach where we're not just taking. We're going to meet, one of the guys below us in our building has a dance studio. And I went down there yesterday. I said, hey, you said you have an advertisement in the window for a receptionist. I'm like, don't get a receptionist. Let me help you with a phone service that'll save you, it'll be 10% of what you're spending on that. And they'll do a more professional job than someone sitting there for $10 an hour picking up the phone that doesn't want to be there. Let's think about these ways we can add value to people, and people will purchase our products and take our recommendations. And so,
Yeah, no,
and
no, you're fine. And it goes hand in hand with the whole building the authority, because there's times where a lot of agents float around agencies, or like we talked the other day, going from captive to an independent agent, and what that criteria looks like. It's a different beast. I mean, yeah, the whole sales of insurance is kind of that aspect. You've always got to have that hustle, but when you're connecting with other people, you don't know the connections that person has and where you could potentially be in 5, 10, 15 years. You never know. Like for me, I'm telling myself right now, this is the agency I want to be with for the rest of my career, because it's wholeheartedly. It's a love for me. It's a love that I have for the agency. The agency has a love for me. It feels warm and great. But you don't know what could happen. You don't know where that could lead you. You don't know what that next step could be. You can still dream and have that aspiration of, this is what I want to do, but you've got to have those. But you don't know, and having people just to connect with, and it even makes it more fun when you're connecting with the same people in the industry that you work with. And it gives me, and I got a big grin on my face, because it's awesome to be able to connect with people in my state that can be mentors to me, that I can learn from, that I can write 3 pages of notes, that I'm continuously writing notes, listening to this dude talk right now. I mean, that's why this thing is so daggone fun, people. That's why I'm in love with the insurance industry, and Ben is making it fun. Ben is making it, he's passionate. He loves what he's doing. And that's why I think it's important. If you're not passionate about this, if you're not passionate about the insurance industry, either you're at the wrong place, the wrong agency, or you just might not fit. But give it a little bit of time to decide that factor. Don't just get into it for a year and decide, this is not it for me. Things change. It's a hustling world. You still got to hustle. And Ben, we were talking about this before we hit the record button as well, as having that disconnection of, I'm that hustler. I'm a go-getter. That's you. I mean, you're out there. Here, I've got these 3 accounts this week. My goal is to write all 3 of these accounts. If I write 2 of 3 of them, phenomenal. But I'm pissed because I didn't write that 3rd one. But then you have your thought at the beginning of the year, I've got to change maybe my marketing strategy, my social media strategy, my content strategy. And this is the topic of conversation we're talking about, loyal listeners. So stay tight and listen to this, because this is huge. Is just because you start that niche podcast, just because you're guest hosting that podcast, just because you're creating digital and content and everything like that takes time, does not mean your hustle goes from 100 to 50, because you think that just because you've added some different value to your daily operations, that's going to, I guess, step in the batter's box and take over that other 50% of hustle. That's completely wrong. You've got to have the hustle 100%, no matter what you're doing and what you're adding. Time management's huge. So for you, Ben, the hustle aspect of it, you sit there and look at podcasts, you sit there and look at stuff, and you're like, holy shit, I've still got to hustle. I've still got to be Ben Zimmer. I've still got to make sure that this agency is running well and running smooth, and that our people that that my employees, that when I'm talking to him across the country or down in Indianapolis, we've got to make sure we're staying and holding ourselves accountable personally. You can't depend on someone else to hold you accountable all the time. Okay, especially if you're in a virtual office. So for you, the hustle's been there. You can see it the way that you do business. I can see it by the way that you talk. So talk to those agents out in the world right now that are inside those agencies. Give them that real agent experience, and let them know what the word hustle actually entails.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. So I think it's just a couple things. Every opportunity and every day that you have to thank someone else adds energy to you. And this hustle to me is energy and time well spent. Those are hustle, because I can, like Brent Kelly says, I can run the wrong way enthusiastically. It doesn't get me anywhere. But if I have that the passion to truly be a servant to our clients and my staff and my people that work with us, then I feel like that energy transitions into my clients and the way I interface with them as well. So, I mean, hustle is passion. It's being smart with your time. It's knowing when an opportunity is there and when an opportunity isn't there. And that takes a lot of time to figure out. And I still make those mistakes sometimes where I'm like, well, I think this would be a great fit. And all of a sudden we get down the line and it's like, No, they have employee problems. They've, done this wrong. And I'm like, oh man, shoot, I wasted my time a little bit there, but that's okay because who knows if maybe I make a recommendation and they get better and we do partner. But I think hustle is essentially is just competing with yourself and always looking to get better for yourself, for your clients, obviously for your family. But it's just a little bit of grit, that grind of humility that you're not your best self yet.
And I don't think you will be for a while. I mean, you'll never, I guess the better way to put it is you should never think that you're the best yourself. I mean, yeah, I wake up every single day and I think that I'm pissing excellence and I'm going to be the best me today. I'm going to be the best me. I'm going to be the best father. I'm going to be the best insurance agent. I'm going to be the best colleague. I'm going to be the best community partner or community enthusiast, whatever you want to call it. You've got to have that mindset that you're going to do the best and be the best. But you also have to have that guilty conscience of, I will never be the best until I continuously learn, continuously grow, continuously surround yourself around those professionals. That's where it all starts. You can be the best person for yourself. But you've got to have that self accountability, that self push, that self drive. And you've had that since the day that you were out of the womb. I feel like just hearing the way that you talk. Let's holler out this. Let's holler out the loyal listeners who were collegiate athletes or even high school athletes. But what I noticed in college as a collegiate athlete is that's really where the hustle I've always had that passion to work hard and to go, be better at baseball, be, better at school, whatever it could be. But when you play a collegiate sport, it's not just go and have fun and party and go get your schoolwork done and then go play baseball. I mean, guys, it is a full-time job in college. And I think that prepared me as a collegiate athlete at Ball State to be a professional in the insurance world. I mean, a lot of times people go to college thinking they're going to be a professional athlete. Well, that percentage is just as low as people thinking that they're going to go play college sports from then being a professional athlete. So you've got to have some type of wake-up call like, okay, this is not going to be for me. But all those things that you learned in college as a collegiate athlete has put me in a position to, the sky's the limit for me to succeed. Same thing for you. Do you feel as being a collegiate athlete has given you an avenue and a platform to I guess keep your ceiling high and continuously push?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just the next, having that next goal in mind, always having that next goal, get to that next level, and understand that if it were easy, everybody would do it,
Right.
But it's not going to be. And you got, like I was telling the staff, like at the beginning of the year, like we hired 2 people in the last 2 weeks, and it's like we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable because that's what's going to happen. And nothing good comes from easy. Everything good comes from pushing yourself outside that comfort zone.
Guys, that's another thing I'm writing down. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Holy shit, that just makes your mind kind of think like, what did he just say? What does that mean? But it's true. I mean, you've got to be, if something makes you uncomfortable, you should be so daggone happy it makes you uncomfortable that you're okay with that. And that's awesome. I need to be more uncomfortable about certain situations and be comfortable about being uncomfortable. It's crazy.
Yeah. I
mean, dropping straight knowledge here today, dropping quotes out of the wazoo for you loyal listeners. And Ben's got it going, guys. Ben really does have it going. And if you don't follow Ben Zimmer on LinkedIn and any of those platforms, and follow Ethos Insurance and see what he's doing, see the things that he's doing, ask Ben questions. If your aspirations are to become an agency owner, Ben's the guy. I'm telling you, Ben is the guy. He's doing it right, and he's kicking it right in the butt. And that's what I like to talk about. A couple more things, Ben, because I know you got to go. Real quick, one last question before I get into my 5 rapid fire questions to learn a little bit more about yourself. But going, I guess, kind of where I was getting with this question, from the time that Ben Zimmer started in the insurance business to the time of to present day now, what would you say the biggest difference and separation between you and the competitors in your community or town are?
Yeah, I think, breaking down that one more relationship barrier that I thought I had. Again, that coming back to uncomfortable, being like, hey, look, I can do one more call. I can do one more appointment. I can do one more thing. You're capable of more than what you think you are. And that was probably the difference between, taking night appointments when I was young, taking these weekend appointments and just saying, I'm going to make this work. And I'm going to keep a smile on my face and make this work, because it was not an easy path. But I'll tell you what, if you just ask people for help, especially people in your life that are community leaders, and you say, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do well. And here I'm exposed that I don't know everything, or even close to everything, but I'm so excited to learn. I'm so passionate about it. And when you totally free yourself from thinking you have to be perfect, and you just put yourself out there and say that to people, people are like, I want to help you. I want to help this guy because he's got something special going, or this gal, they got something special where they want it. And I got to help that person.
Yep. I think the big thing is there is you got to want it. If you don't want it, get out of it. Go do something else. And if it's the passion and the drive to want better or want something, you got to always want and have something to reach for and to grind for. So like that. Real quick, going into my 5 rapid fire questions of the Agency Intelligence Podcast. These are some questions that I ask on my personal Inside Hancock County podcast locally. I just love it because it kind of gets me to learn a little bit more about you, and they're just fun and geeky questions, I guess. But if you're an ice cream lover, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Ooh, I know you're Mr. Exercise and Mr. Fit. So what's
fit? I told my wife when she had the babies, she lost the baby weight, and I found it somehow. But so I like straight up. This company in town called Valpo Velvet. The ice cream's phenomenal. They have it called Cherry Burgundy. It's just got these. It's almost like a Luxardo cherry. It's not right how good it is. So that's why
he said it's not right how good it is. That's awesome. I like that. I had a guy say this, and I'll give him crap because I asked him. He said vanilla. I go, you got to be kidding me. Vanilla? That's the best answer you could have come up with. Come on now. Well, staying in some quirky questions here. What's your favorite color?
I like Ethos blue. It's kind of a navy.
He said Ethos blue.
It's on the color wheel if you look really close.
He said it's Ethos blue. I love that. He's down to earth determined. There it is. The Ethos blue. We'll make sure to throw that logo out there so everybody can take a look at it and the learning aspect behind of Ethos and stuff like that. Now, kicking a little local, and I like to ask this question on my show. And I'm bringing it over to the Agency Intelligence Podcast because the way I'm doing this show and creating some video aspect of it, doing a little different, kind of like Caitlin Agar's done, is it gives us a chance as agents we talk about prospecting all the time, but I like this question because it gives you a chance to be able to, on social and using the use of digital content, dive into those commercial clients and dive into those local boutiques, those local restaurants. I like to go the restaurant route. Don't write a ton of restaurants, but I want to get into it. So what's your favorite local restaurant in Valparaiso, Indiana?
Ooh, man. So I have 7 or 8 restaurant clients. So
you can't throw them all under the bus.
You can't throw them all out there. I will tell you that Tomato Bar, Ricochet, Kelsey's, there's 3 right there that are really, really great restaurants. Pizza, steak, and street tacos. Those are those 3, so they're all delicious, and they're all proprietors that decided they want to do something different than chains, and they just killed it. So
street tacos, everybody's always said once you have street tacos, there's nothing better than that at all. So I might have to take a trip up to Valparaiso and we'll have to go to Lunch Bin and have some street tacos there. Last question, let you go. If you could have one piece of advice, and I know you've dropped a ton of advice and a ton of knowledge today on everybody and the loyal listeners listening to the episode. But if you had one other piece of advice, whether it's a life lesson or a life tip or work tip, what could you give everybody out there in the world?
I still say get up earlier, honestly. Get up a little bit earlier, go to bed a little bit earlier, and spend that 20 minutes wherever it is in your house, to think about what you're going to do that day and how that relates to what your goals are. Because I'm spending a lot of time on just planning who my ideal clients are, what I'm going to say, and what they're going to say back to me. Think about that, and then take that to someone else in your agency or a mentor, an accountability partner, whoever that is, and do a little bit of role playing. I know it sounds crazy, but like, this is what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? What do you think would be another potential roadblock in taking this to the end? So get up a little earlier, think about what is going to be said if you got a chance to be in front of that ideal client of yours, future ideal client, or that future prospect that you really want to work with, and run through in your head and take it to the finish line in a positive way. And I think that could be really beneficial for a lot of people.
Wow.
And here's the other thing, man. Every single thing I do, every single process I have, I'm an open book. If anyone wants to talk to me about what I do, efficiencies, this, that, the other, I don't care. You still got to go do it. I'm of the abundance mentality, so I will give anybody any piece of information they need to have. Totally cool. No big deal.
If I could open up my eyes a little wider, I'm in awe, guys. This is great stuff. This is a phenomenal episode. This is probably one of my favorite interviews I've had yet. No offense to everybody else. It's because I like to learn. I mean, I've learned everything from everybody else, but this episode can be so valuable to so many agents out there. This is one we need you guys to share out there in the world. We need you guys to reshare it, repost it, because there's so many people that need to hear Ben's message and what Ben's about. And like Ben said, don't be afraid to reach out for questions. Don't be afraid to reach out for anything. He's a great deal of knowledge and somebody that I am going to continuously talk to and keep building a relationship with and try to be the Ben Zimmer of the Hancock County community. So Ben, thank you so much. Real quick, where can
humble to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, no, I do appreciate that. Ben, where can people find you at? Social media, anything like that, some information that they can connect with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Ben Zimmer, and then also our website, ethosriskmgt.com, 219-281-2380. Reach out. I'm glad to talk. I'd love to help anybody I can, especially younger people as they're getting started. It's just amazing the mentors I've had, and I feel like I have room and space to help others grow. So glad to help.
Wow. Well, this is awesome. Well, Ben, once again, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you joining the Agency Intelligence Podcast and bringing some knowledge to all of our loyal listeners across the nation, across the world. As that's what this show is about. It's to help insurance agents inside real insurance agencies, bringing you the real agency experience. And you're doing it. You're killing it. Keep going. You're inspiring lots of people, especially young agents. Tip my hat to you and can't wait to continue to build that relationship.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Don't stop doing this. This is fantastic. Okay. Do not stop.
Thanks, Ben. I really needed that. I do appreciate your time. Go follow Ben Zimmer. Go check out Ethos Insurance. And don't be afraid to reach out and ask for questions, as we're all here to help. Young, old, middle-aged, whatever it is, retired. There's agents out there that want to help. And that's why we're here. And that's what the Agency Intelligence Podcast is about. Once again, Mitch Gibson, Ben Zimmer from Ethos Insurance. Hope you all have a wonderful week. Go kick 2021 year right in the butt. And always remember, you can make a difference. Take care, everybody.